One Extra, it is the One Extra R&B show with your boy Ace, and it is R&B month on One Extra, so we thought, you know what, we gotta give them something big.
Perfect timing.
Huge. The new album is out right now, Heart on My Sleeve. I want to say welcome back to the One Extra R&B show, Miss Ella May. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. How are you?
I'm great, man.
That's
Sophomore
good.
album.
Yes, I know.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling amazing. Honestly, I've been waiting for this moment. So I'm just happy to be back, man.
That sophomore jinx is a term that's used within the music industry a lot.
Yeah.
Did you have any fears about that going into putting out this second album?
I'll be honest with you, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did. 100.
Was that the reason for the length? Because I feel like we've, maybe it's because of lockdown and the fact that we've been doing life differently.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've been waiting on your second project.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't say it was like a conscious effort. No, like okay, I know the sophomore jinx exists, so let me make sure that doesn't happen. Like obviously in my mind I was like, we can't let that happen. But the pandemic was a lot of the reason for the wait, because I started recording my debut album came out 2018. I toured the whole of 2019, literally a whole year, and finished tour January 2020 and started my album February 2020, and literally we went into lockdown March 2020. So the process for me was very stop-start, because there were studios that were open and there were studios that were closed. And I know a lot of people were doing like Zoom sessions during the pandemic, but I just wasn't a Zoom session girl. I just couldn't get into it. I need to be in the studio with people and feel the vibes. And obviously that wasn't possible for a long time. So that was really what the wait was. I think it was just the stop-start and the pandemic and just trying to figure everything out. But we're here.
Yeah, you've always come across as somebody that is you move on vibes and energy.
Yeah.
Are you superstitious at all? And in regard to that whole like sophomore jinx, how did you even tune that out? How did you get that away? Was that anything to do with maybe no one mentioned that, no one talk about it? What was the way that you got past that?
I'm definitely not superstitious.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually not. But no one actually, to be fair, I think it was myself.
Okay.
Yeah, like no one actually brought it up to me. Or was like saying it or like putting anything in my head. I think it was just, I knew it was my sophomore album. My debut album was really successful. So I was like, where do we go from here? Do you know what I mean? But I think I had a conversation with Mustard very early on in my process when I was like really overthinking and just like getting in my head. And he sat me down and he literally said, look, there's nothing different about what you need to do now than what you've done before. Just go in there, make the music that you love and stop thinking about it. And once I listened to that, it actually just started flowing. So,
because you've given us so much music. You gave us 3 EPs with Mustard.
I did.
And then you gave us the debut album. It kind of can't even necessarily feel like your second album, surely.
It did though, you know, weirdly enough. I think more so because with my debut album, when I was recording it, I wasn't as sure of myself as I am now as an artist. I wasn't as sure of what I wanted to say. We were still trying to figure out my sound, even though I'd put out the EPs. The EPs were very that was really early on, just me and Mustard knowing each other. So going into this process and just being way more sure of myself as an artist. And, you know, I was 23 when I put out my debut. I am now 27. So there's a big time gap, and I think these last 4 years have been quite life-changing, like just career-wise, but just even just me as a woman, and just like growing up and like knowing what I do want and what I don't want in every aspect of my life. So I think it did feel like the sophomore, but it almost felt like a coming of age almost, if you get what I mean. And I'm not old at all. No. But 23 and 27 are definitely very different ages.
Yeah, interesting. Like 23 to 27, I feel like those are real kind of key. It's a key age in regards to like finding out exactly who you are.
I thought I knew everything at 23. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And when I think about it now, I'm like, I didn't know anything. At all.
Yeah. So are we going to hear that then? Because obviously we heard the LMA album and it was like, it kind of said what it was on the tin. It's this is LMA, this is who I am, and this is what you're going to get. You're getting good quality R&B music, and you did amazing things. But just the title alone of this album, Heart on My Sleeve, says to me, I'm about to know LMA. Like I'm about to hear about stuff that's happened maybe in the last 4 years, or even stuff that's happened before. It's more about who you are.
100%.
What are we looking to get from this? And the title for me is very key. Talk to us about the title and what we're about to get from this album.
Yeah, this album, the recording process was really like my life in real time. Okay. So obviously the songs didn't come together as like the first one I recorded to the last one I recorded being in real time. Obviously we've chopped it up and put whatever needed to go where. But all of the songs, I did about almost 80 songs this process. And they were all just what I was going through at the time. Some good, some bad, some like unsure. And there were days where it definitely I went in the studio and it just didn't work and I was frustrated. And there were days when I went into the studio and it just worked and I was so excited. But it's definitely way like, it's like a look into definitely just my life in the last, like you said, 4 years, and just being able to let people in a bit more, because I don't let people in a lot. I feel like I'm very, I pick and choose what I want to show people, which is still going to happen. But I think the music definitely tells more of a story that's, close to my heart than the debut. And don't get me wrong, I love my debut album. But just like I said, I was just so much more sure of what I wanted to say.
So like on the lead up to this, we've had some singles.
Yes.
So if we look at Not Another Love Song.
Yeah.
And then we look at Don't Mess This Up. Ella's got a naughty word in there, her one. And then we've got Leave You Alone.
Yes.
This feels like we are going to get the Heartbreak Ella album. Those 3 singles already just feel like, okay, some stuff's happened and we're about to find out about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, because I want to listen to that album, I don't want you to tell us exactly what went down. But do you feel like, obviously you had a situation, a personal situation.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that has really helped you in being creative this time around?
Oh,
like
100%.
Going through those emotions and whatever that situation was, has that helped you put music together this time around? 1,000,
1,000, 100, however many billion percent. Yeah, I think, but I wouldn't call it like Heartbreak Ella.
Okay.
I wouldn't. Like, there are definitely some songs on the album where I'm talking my stuff. Like I'm letting people know. But I'm not even a glass half full type of girl, so I can't even lie and say that. But I think in relationships, I definitely always try and see the good in what came from it. So I don't want to be, as much as R&B is amazing, like Heartbreak R&B is just amazing. You just feel, and I love it. And I have some of that for sure. But a lot of my album process was like me being happy, me being super, super in love, and me being like, just, I don't even know what to call it, but just happy. So it's not all, like I said, it was my life in real time. So as anyone who's been in a relationship before will know, it's ups, down, today's this, tomorrow's that. Like it was just that time period in my life. Yeah. We
like heartbreak music, especially R&B artists.
I love it. I love it too. And it's the worst thing about it is you can be heartbroken and like not trying to feel any more sad, but put on some heartbreak R&B.
It makes it worse, but you like want to feel it.
It makes no sense, but it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but heartbreak music, it just, for some reason as human beings, we remember the bad more than we remember the good.
It's mad. And we think about R&B artists as well. Like some of the ones that we know and love make amazing heartbreak music. And it's hard for them to make other genres. Well, they make R&B music, but you might not. We always hear, we love Heartbreak Mary. Do you know what I'm saying? And what if Mary doesn't want to be heartbroken?
But you know what? It's when you actually think about it, it's, why must we want heartbreak for Mary J. Blige? We should want her to be happy, especially all the stuff that she's been through.
100%.
Like, it's definitely selfish reasons, because obviously we want to listen to the music. And she does make phenomenal heartbreak R&B. Like, that's undeniable. But I think it's just one of those things. I think it's also, heartbreak is easier to tap into than being in love also, if you're not in the situation. Like I said, as humans, we remember the bad way better than we remember the good. So I've made songs like about me being sad before when I wasn't actually sad. Even during this album process, like I feel like some of the songs that I made was me foreshadowing. Like I was like, maybe I called this on myself. But yeah, I don't know. Heartbreak R&B definitely does hit, but in love R&B hits.
Yes, 100%.
Almost the same.
Yeah.
I just feel like, we just, for some reason, we just remember the bad better than the good.
And the fans definitely, there's always somebody going through heartbreak. There's always, like, you know what I'm saying? And those records definitely touch people differently. What are the fans saying to you about, especially some of the singles and some of your previous work in regards to like the heartbreak stuff and
to be fair, the singles have been quite different if you think about like content-wise. Like Not Another Love Song is me obviously being in love, not knowing if I should say it, not wanting to mess anything up. DFMU, don't mess this up, is, you know, kind of like realizing you're in a place where this could go left, but I'm going to put my trust in you and I'm going to hope for the best and hope that you're not going to mess the situation up. And leave you alone is completely left. Like, oh, I shouldn't reply to this text message. What am I doing? I know this is a really bad idea, but here I am anyway. So I feel like I've seen a lot of people saying like, they love the sounds. They feel like all three of the singles were completely different sonically. And like you said, you felt like we were going to get heartbreak. I saw this whole breakdown that one of my fans did of like, once I released the track list of like, well, we've got a water theme here and I see this title and I see that. And it was actually quite a good breakdown without knowing, obviously with only knowing.
They weren't right or they were.
Some of it was right, yeah. Not all of it was right, but it's just interesting to see people's reactions, obviously, because I know the music. But it's been an amazing response. I mean, like you said, I've been gone for a little while, so I was a little apprehensive coming back, just like, it's been a little while, but it doesn't feel like I've left, and I'm just so appreciative of that.
We love that we can tell that you enjoy collaborating. So we got a few collaborations on this album, but I can imagine, after what you did the first time round, it would have been easy for you to get whoever you wanted on the album. How did you choose Lotto's and Lucky Day? I think Roddy Ricch is on the album as well. How did you select who you wanted to work with this time round?
Listen, features are never easy.
I didn't know.
Like some of them easier, obviously, than others, depending on like personal relationships too. But features can just be, they're a headache. And I understand, like, you know, people have their own timelines, people are working on their own things and everyone is busy. So I completely understand, but it's not as easy as everyone probably thinks. But in regards to who I have on this album, Lucky, I've been working with for years, since I was going back and forth to LA and writing with him. He wrote Own It on my debut album with me. He wrote some of my songs on my EP. I've literally known Lucky for a very long time. So now to see everything going great for him, he came on tour with me when I was on the debut tour in America, to see everything going so well for him and just being able to, it's kind of like a full circle moment now that we have a song together. And that was actually one of the last songs I did in the album process, but it was just easy, that it just flowed because we've been working together for so long. So that one I'm really excited about. The Roddy feature came because I told Mustard that I need to have Roddy on my album.
I Mustard.
I mean, I see Roddy quite a lot because him and Mustard obviously have a really close working relationship and just friendship. And I didn't have any rappers on my debut album. It was John Legend, her, and Chris. So it's all R&B singers. And I was like, all right, well, I know I want 3 features again. I didn't want any more than 3 features. And I was like, everybody loved 24/7 that me and Meek did. So I was like, we need some R&B rap. So I was like, definitely wanted Roddy, and Mustard made that happen. But that wasn't hard, actually. I will say he did his verse very quickly. It took him a while to add some extras, but I knew he would do it. He came through for me. And Lotto, this is actually a really funny story. So I met her towards the end of my album process when she was starting her album that obviously just came out. And this was the first time I met her. We was using the same studio. She was in one room and I was in the other room. And I was like, towards the end of my album process, I had like, my hair wasn't done. I was just looked a mess. So someone came and told me she was next door, and I'm a big fan. So I'm like, I look crazy, but let me just go next door. So I've gone next door. I'm like, please don't judge me. I know I look crazy, but I just wanted to come and say how, like, I'm a big fan. And she was just saying the same, like, oh, I'm a big fan. Thank you for coming in. You don't look crazy, like that. We were just chopping it up, really. And then the next day I was there, she was there again. So we was using the same studio. And she was like, we need to work on music, whatever else. So I was like, yeah, we definitely do. But then I didn't see her again for months. My album was basically done. And there's this one there, well, this Didn't Say was one of the very first songs that I recorded in the album process. And everyone loved it, but it was very early on. So we were like, all right, let's see what else we make and see what, and it was still one that stuck in the very end. But to me personally, I was just always like, just needs a little pick me up. Like something's missing. Like I feel like it needs a feature and I would love to have a feature on it. And by this time I already had Roddy and Lucky. So I was like, I need a girl. I can't just have, So Mustard and I sat down and he asked me like, which female would I see on there? So I'm like, well, if we're talking female rappers, new age, Lotto's one of my favorites. So I was like, let me message her. So I messaged her on Instagram and I was like, I have this song for you, blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah, send it. She sends me her number. Sent it to her and she just never responded.
Nothing.
She literally like didn't respond. So I was like, okay, maybe she doesn't like it. Like, I don't take that stuff personally. I understand. Yeah. So like, I've been in that situation before, so I understand. So I was just like, all right, cool. I guess the song's not going to have a feature. And then maybe months later, honestly, 3-4 days, maybe a week before we had to turn in the album, she texted me. She was like, oh my God, please don't kill me. Like, I thought I replied to this, like I completely forgot, and then your song just came up on a playlist and I was like, oh my God, I didn't reply to Ella. So she was like, can I still make this happen for you? So I didn't know, because we were about to obviously submit the album. So I asked my manager, he said if she does it by Monday, this was a Friday, she does it by Monday, we can make it happen. So I told her that, and I was just, in my head, I was just like, she probably, I know she's busy. She was obviously just about to put out an album at the time. She was like, I'm going to the studio tonight, I'll get it back to you.
Amazing.
So I was like, all right. The next day, she sent me the verse and we made it happen. I was so excited. I was just like, you see the way God works. Like, So yeah, that's how that came about.
I feel like you're just super blessed like that. I mean, because she is obviously like the hottest female rap at the moment. But I always think about when you got with Mustard, because people think, it's amazing. LMA got signed by Mustard. But what people don't remember is like, at the time that Mustard signed you, he was like hot as fish. Like he was, as a DJ that was in the clubs, I couldn't do an hour set without like,
playing a Mustard.
45 minutes of Mustard. He was like sizzling, do you know what I'm saying? So it was absolutely a huge deal. Was that going through your mind when you originally got the message from Mustard, like, yo, like, what's your situation?
Yeah, I think it was weird because when he messaged me, I remember like clicking on his profile on Instagram about 5 times, like coming out and coming back just to make really sure it was real. I'm like, okay, there's a verified tick, but I'm not sure. And I remember showing my brother, and my brother was like, yeah, that's the real one. And when I was messaging him back, I want to say this was right after I saw him at Wireless. He had a set at Wireless in the tent, and I promise you, front row. I have a Snapchat, like old Snapchat video that I showed him years ago. It's really embarrassing. Me at the front, just like living my best life. And so it was kind of like surreal to me. But I was just like, you know what? I don't know what this is. I don't know what this can be. But I know he has a very good ear for music. He's great at what he does. And let me just see what comes from it. I never ever expected for it to happen the way it happened. I could have, there were so many times I worked with him before signing, and those songs could have gone and been demos for other people. We didn't have any like contract or anything. But it just made so much sense from the moment we met, like sonically. And now it's like, that's like my big brother. I spend Christmas and stuff it was just, Easter, and his wife was like, we missed you. I work out with his wife every week. That's like, crazy. We're literally like a family at 10 Summers. And I just thank God every day, because I'm so blessed to be in the situation that I'm in.
I know this is going to sound like a stupid question, but I genuinely want to ask this. Like, was there a plan? Did you know it was going to be 3 EPs? Then we're going to have this huge single that's going to blow up. Then we're going to put out an album. Then did you and Mustard sit down and map out this route to get you to this point? And did it go that way? Yeah.
We planned the 3 EPs, definitely. Okay. Yeah. And we obviously knew an album would come. We didn't know when.
Did you know that Boo'd Up was going to be the one?
Absolutely not.
Okay, you didn't.
None of us knew.
Was there a record that you thought was going to be the one?
Naked. We thought Naked was going to, and Naked is 2 times platinum in the US. So I'll take it.
So you were right. But it wasn't Boo'd Up.
Yeah, it wasn't Boo'd Up. Yeah. And I don't think anyone could have imagined what Boo'd Up did. Honestly, I remember at the time putting out Naked. Naked was a couple months old. And my manager came to me and was like, Boo'd Up is going kind of crazy. And at this point, it had already been out for a year. And he was like, we need to do a video for it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we need to push Naked. Like, me thinking I know everything. I'm like, we need to push Naked. We just put Naked out, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, seriously. Like, you might not understand it now, but I think you'll understand it soon. We need to do a video for this. And obviously that's my manager. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take your word for it. But then I started to realize what was happening. Obviously, just DJs all over the US just
DJs are important, people.
Listen, extremely important.
We are 100%.
DJs are the reason that Boo'd Up became so successful. Like literally, I owe it all to the DJs, because that's how the people heard it. People didn't know who I was. People didn't know my name, what I looked like, where I was from, anything. They just heard this song continuously. And I think the timing was perfect. Obviously, it was leading right into summer. But none of us knew at all. We just kind of ran with it. And luckily I had been recording my debut album already. So once Boot Up took off and then we followed up with Trip. Trip was one of the last songs that we did in the debut album process. And I remember specifically once we did it, because at first I hadn't done the whole thing. So Mustard was like, this is it, this is the one. And I was like, are you sure? I really wasn't sure. I didn't know what to think, but Mustard's never steered me wrong. So I was like, cool, let's do it. And Trip did what it did. And then the debut album came, and that stuff we kind of just had to run with it. We were just lucky that the album was basically already done. So yeah.
I think you're important to us in the UK because, and I think you're important for R&B artists because I think you've seen both sides of it.
Yeah.
And you say that like, do you know what? We're going to get to why I feel like you just answered.
Wait, did I say that?
It was kind of quick. So it was kind of like,
oh, yeah. Sorry. No,
so
I didn't mean it.
No, I understand where you're going
anyway.
with this. But I feel like I've always wanted to know from you what it was like before the Mustard message.
Yeah.
And because I see it every day. Artists that have given me amazing records, they're not necessarily getting the love that they need. I'm playing them, but no one else is really jumping on board. What was it like for you before that message? Because we've seen you blow up. We've seen you do all of them. But there's definitely going to be. I know there's a story. There's a backstory. I know there must have been struggle. You are an R&B singer in the UK.
Yeah,
I've seen it. What was it from the horse's mouth? What was it like for you?
It was a struggle.
Right.
It was a struggle. I'm actually quite lucky that I didn't have to struggle for that long. Like, I think I'm one of the lucky and blessed ones, but I understand that I'm literally maybe an anomaly. Like, I was in a girl group before I was a soloist. There was 3 of us. We would do all these underground, and we were an R&B girl group. We were doing all these underground shows, and like, people would express their interest, but nothing would ever really go anywhere. We'd started writing our own songs, going to the studio, picked up management, but even that was just a situation that we didn't need to be in. But us being super young, didn't really know any better, and just kind of trying to find our own way, because I don't feel like there was anyone at the time that we knew that could give us any proper direction other than make pop songs. And if there was one thing I always knew for myself, even like outside of a group, I never wanted to be made into a pop artist. And you can ask my mom, you can ask my brother. I never wanted to be in a girl group, to be honest, but it was my friend who I met at uni, and she was like, just come, just try it out. And then I just ended up in this group. But we had fun. But once we dismantled, and I was really like, no, I'm really gonna do music, like seriously. And I went to uni for music. I said to my mom, literally, I said, I'm not signing in England. Like, as bad as that sounds, I know it sounds bad, but I said to my mum, my brother, I said, I'm not signing in England. And when I started doing my Instagram videos, I had like people that wanted to take meetings, but I didn't even take the meetings because I knew I wasn't going to sign in England. And not because you can't be successful in England, you absolutely can. But I think for R&B artists, there's not enough guidance at labels. I'm not trying to draw you out.
That's nice, fine.
And you do you do everything that we need, honestly. But like you said, there's other people that need to do it also.
Of course.
Like, one person can't, But for me, it was just never really an option because I never saw that for myself. And that's not me saying I would never ever make a pop song. Like, of course, I want to dibble and dabble. But like, my main, for you to understand, like you said, my debut album being self-titled, like, cool, this is LMA, and everything since then and everything even before then. I grew up on R&B music. I love R&B music, and I will not allow anyone to not let me make R&B music. I don't think that's fair. Sorry, I was rambling.
Nah, this is all very good. All right, let me just say this, an observation, if you don't mind. Yeah. So this is not the first time we've met.
Yeah.
Well, I had you on the show a few times, but when Boot Up came out, you came over to the UK. I think you did One Extra Live for us, which was amazing.
Yes.
I feel like you said it was the first time you had performed since One Extra.
Since Boot Up went crazy,
which was amazing. But before you did the show, you came to One Extra Towers. I think Dottie interviewed myself interviewed you.
Yes.
And I found that you was just really quiet. And it was like a different Ella. But then it was like, I don't know if she's quiet or she's irritated. And I felt like,
oh my God.
No, not by me, don't get twisted, not by me. I felt like there was and whenever I watched loads of interviews with you and a couple UK peoples, and I always felt like you were irritated. It was kind of like a vibe of like, well, why are you not celebrating me now? Do you know what I'm saying? Like you had the opportunity to, but what now? Because I got this record and I'm like, I kind of felt, you can tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Right, so that was right. I kind of got the vibe of like, well, why are you not celebrating me now? You didn't want to celebrate me when I was here. It's taken for me to go to the States and come back and have this huge record, and you want to celebrate me now. It just, not that it wasn't rude. I just felt like there was that little bit of irritation about the fact that you had to do that in order to get the props that you deserve. Yeah. Is that how you felt? And is that what was going on in with you at that time?
Yeah, I'm sorry that I came across that way because it sounds terrible, but I can't even lie to you. Yeah, right. That is the truth. Okay. I definitely, and like I said, I didn't have to struggle over here for that long when it comes to like trying to make it. So in that respect, I was trying to navigate it. I think I was probably a little bit standoffish. Also, yes, I felt like that, but also because I was trying to navigate how to, or even just understand myself, how I've gone somewhere else where I'm not from, even though I lived in America. So I have like, I went to high school there, but like I was trying to understand how I went somewhere else and was so celebrated. And even though I was so celebrated and even how successful Boo'd Up was, I still didn't feel as celebrated in my hometown. And I don't think at the time I obviously I know what the R&B scene is like, and I know how that goes, but I see pop artists who do the same thing, even sometimes not even as much as what Boo'd Up did. Like when I actually think about it, I remember Stormzy put it actually, I think when we were top 20, and Stormzy put it on his story and he was like LMA is one of our own. She's got a top 20 record in the US. Like, why is no one talking about this? And that was the first time I actually was like, oh, maybe people are actually paying attention. And not that it bothered me to the point where I couldn't sleep, but I definitely did want to feel a little bit more received. Right. And even after Boo'd Up, I still didn't feel as received at home as I did in the US. Interesting. But I also, as I got a little bit older and kind of explored a little bit more and started to understand things properly, because at the time, I always say this, at the time of my debut album, I was very naive. Sometimes that's better because you're just here, there and everywhere and you're just excited and everything's going on. At the time, I didn't understand that. I think also your presence somewhere makes a big difference. And I had gone to America and started my career there basically, and I hadn't really been at home. Right. So I think that was where yes, it's R&B, but I think that was also where a lot of the, what's the right word I'm looking for? Disconnection was. Right. Because I also wasn't really like, I don't think there was anyone on the scene that could be like, oh yeah, I did this with her, or I did that. Like I was very disconnected at the time. And I'll admit that. And I've always made a conscious effort, even though I haven't been home in a while now, but pandemic, so forgive me, to try and make sure I connect more, because I think what I've been able to do in the States, I don't think there's no one else over here that can do that. I think there's a lot of us that can do that. And I think I have a platform, and, to try and bring people with me. But I definitely did feel like that at the time. It's definitely changed now. It's evident. It's definitely changed now. Yeah. But I also think I understand it too, because it hadn't been done. No. So I think also in real time, as much as I was trying to understand what was going on, everyone else was trying to understand what was going on. But me, just it being me, it felt a little bit more personal than it would obviously to everyone else. But it is what it is. You shake and move the way you do. And I'm very sorry. I feel bad because I never want to come off irritated. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't Dottie's fault. Like it wasn't you guys' fault. So yeah, and I thought I played it off well, but I guess I didn't. No,
it wasn't even, again, you weren't rude to us. I kind of understood it.
Yeah.
And because, again, like what Stormzy said is like, no one's talking about this. Do you realize what she just achieved? She's got a song in the Billboard top 200. I mean, you was like, what number was you?
5.
Number 5, like, and a lot of people over here were singing your record, but weren't really understanding, like, this is a huge thing.
Yeah.
And this is a massive thing for R&B.
Yeah.
And even in terms of what you've done for R&B, I don't even know if you're aware that having a name like LMA does so much for the singers that are coming through, because now we can wheel off a list of people that are doing things. We go from LMA, who's done it, Grammy Award winning, and you see Mahalia doing things, you see Tiana Major 9. Yes. But your name started that list, and I don't know if you're totally aware of the fact that people are actually actively seeking UK R&B because they've heard you.
Well, I don't think I am aware of that, but
Okay.
thank you. That's amazing to think about. And I definitely, like I was saying, with like bringing people along with me, Mahalia came on tour with me in the US, and I was just so happy to be able to do that for her. And what's crazy is people already knew who she was. Like, it wasn't even like it was. So like you said, people are definitely seeking UK R&B, and there's so many of us. And I'm so happy that Tiana just got to open up for Jasmine. Amazing. I think that was huge. And yeah, I'm just really happy with the way the scene is right now. And I think there's a lot of space and a lot of talent coming through. So for my name to even be wherever it is, at the top, wherever anyone says it is, even just to be in the conversation, I think is an amazing feeling.
So I spoke about our first interview. It was a bit quiet. That's fine.
Now I'm talking too much.
No, now you're talking amazing. But our last interview we did over Zoom.
Over the phone, yes, I remember.
And you said something that really kind of shook the table, which was awesome.
Oh, the Brit Awards.
We spoke about the Brit Awards.
Yes.
And I felt like when you said it, I felt like Ella came on my show to say that. I feel like that was something that was on your heart.
It was on my heart.
Yeah, that you really wanted to say, to have the people here. For those that don't know, you spoke about the fact that they kind of clumped together the pop and R&B award.
Yeah.
Where were you when you found out about that? And again, for those that missed it, why exactly was that so irritating to you?
I hadn't seen the Brit Award like nominations like by category. Like I knew that the nominations came out, but I didn't really pay too much attention to it. And that honestly is because I know that R&B never really gets celebrated at the Brits anyway. So like when the Mobile Award comes on, I make sure I know what's going on with that. Yeah. But with the Brits, it's like, you know, it's politics. So I happened to be in my bed actually watching, because there was a live stream. So I was like, you know, I'm not doing anything. Let me watch it. And when the category came up, I was like, hold on. How is this? How is it fair? Not even just fair, but like these are two completely different genres. Like, you're not going to put pop and country in one category. You're not going to put pop and rock in one category. You're not going to put pop and anything else in another category. So why do we always have to be slighted? And I think, especially with how popular, no pun intended, but how popular pop music is, especially when it comes to charting and stuff like that in England, I think it's almost impossible to put an R&B song or artist up against any pop artist that comes that's from England, like, or even internationally. But just in general, I was trying to understand the thought process behind it. And when I really, really thought about it, I was like, there's no thought process behind this other than the fact that they don't feel like we need to be recognized. That's the only thing that makes sense in my head. That's not fact, obviously. That's what I'm saying, what I thought. But I just think it's unfair. Like, I think it's really unfair. There's so many of us working really, really hard. And it was kind of like a double-edged sword, because on one hand, correct me if I'm wrong, but has R&B even been a category at the Grits?
Not that I know of.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, on one hand, it's great that it's actually there. Like, at least someone says R&B once during the show. But on the other hand, why should we just be grateful that we're there in a category with a genre that we're never ever going to win against? Like, very rarely would an R&B song win against a pop song. And it's crazy because when you think, like you said, when you think about what Boot Up did or even what Trip did, and neither of those songs got recognized at the Brit Awards. And that's fine. I'm okay with it. But just when you think about how successful those two songs were, and then you think about a pop R&B category, if those two songs couldn't have even been there with what they did in the last however many years, then like I said, how is it ever possible that anyone's ever going to be able to compete with a pop song? And I think it was more so just like, oh, here you go. You can have this so you can feel like you're being recognized. But it really wasn't that. It almost felt like a backhanded compliment. And I wasn't even in the category. Like, I have nothing to do with it. But I felt sorry and I'm sure they were grateful to be nominated, but like, it's just not fair because other genres don't get treated like that. And I don't understand why R&B gets treated like that.
Are you aware of how loud your voice is in regards to that? Because
I might find out now after this.
No, I'll tell you. Literally a week after we posted that clip, I had a phone call from somebody from the Brit Trust.
Really?
Yeah. And I won't say who he is, but he's in charge of, like, obviously they brought some people in to make sure that the awards are a bit more diverse. And we saw it this year. If you watched it,
100%,
Mo and the red carpet
I will give them that. Yes,
we're definitely more seen now. But what he said was, like, they they weren't included in what the categories were in regards to what awards they give out. So they were never asked that.
And this is the head?
No, this is just somebody that's involved
involved
in the Brit Trust that was kind of more involved in more like getting
inclusion,
getting the show more diverse. And that clip of you saying that actually was going around the Brit offices.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully we'll find out next year.
We will.
If that has done something. And if it does, I feel like you should take some pride in that and take some props for that, because
I don't feel like I'm the only one that's ever said that.
A few people said it.
Yeah, I can't take.
Your voice is loud though.
I can't. I can't take all the credit, but I genuinely will say I really was annoyed, and I'm sure we all were annoyed. I'm sure you were annoyed. Yeah. Like it's just one of those things. Like I said, it just felt like a backhanded compliment. Like we've just been put here just to say like, okay, yeah, it's been included, but like it wasn't really, And I think. The hard work that gets put into R&B music, any music genre, like no, I can't say any music genre is better than the other in terms of hard work. Obviously, my favorite is R&B, but if every other genre is going to get recognized, and I know like even grime hasn't always been recognized. We've just kind of got to a place where now grime acts can perform at the Brits, and that never would have happened before. So I understand, it's baby steps, and we're trying to get somewhere. But I definitely think it needs to be spoken about in order for them to realize. And like you said, with it going around, I hope it can change more.
I don't know if you're going to accept this job as an R&B activist, but we need somebody.
R&B activist, I love that.
We need somebody that's up there with your platform and your status to be able to be screaming these messages. I think it's important.
Well, I'm never ever gonna be any more quiet. I'm not even quiet about it now, so it's not even any more quiet. I'm never gonna be quiet about that. So yeah, I'll try my best.
I always hear you talking about how much of a fan of certain artists. Like it's so interesting to me that today you've been in this industry a while that you still get them fan moments. Like how? When did you stop becoming a fan? Like
you never stop becoming a fan.
Really? Are you still get shocked by things that happen to you today?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, like I remember one of the very first sessions I did with a writer called Sam Hook. I wrote Naked, whatchamacallit, with him. And he said to me, I can't remember, I want to say we were talking about Chris. I don't think I had met Chris yet, but we were writing whatchamacallit. And I remember this was very early. And I was like, oh, I would love to have Chris on this, but we were just like, we don't want it to be too early. And he said to me, and I was just like, embarrassing story, but like I'm such a huge fangirl. Just musically, I just think he's incredible. Like, and I know we were setting up like me trying to go and work with him, and Sam told me, he was like, never lose that fan. Like a lot of people get to a certain place and they think they're too cool to be a fan. Like never ever lose that, and that really stuck with me. And yeah, to this day, I just feel like, why would I stop being a fan of someone, even if I know them personally, or even if I still admire your work. You inspire me. I love to listen to your records. So just because I now maybe can have a conversation with you or be in the same room as you doesn't stop me from being a fan. I'm still going to give you your flowers as much as I would if I didn't know you, or I mean, if I could. But yeah, I'll never stop being a fan. I think I've been so inspired by others and musically, just as people too. And I want to be able to inspire people the way I've been inspired. So like, if I lose that, how am I gonna know what that feels like in the same capacity, if you get what I mean? Yeah. So never. What's the rest of the year looking like for you? Ooh.
I mean, you said you recorded 80 records, so we're definitely getting a deluxe.
Do you
Might
know
get
what?
a couple of them.
If you speak to my manager, he's definitely going to be like, yeah, we're getting a deluxe. But I think I'm just really excited for Heart on My Sleeve to really just live. And like we said, it's been a while, so I want people to really, really take this in. I'm definitely, shows are now starting to happen more. And that was one of the reasons also, like, I didn't want to put anything out during the pandemic, like a full project, because I wanted to be able to work it properly. I want to be able to travel the world and sing these songs with different people from all different backgrounds and have them scream the lyrics back at me. Like, it's so fun. And without being able to do that, as great as the studio process is and being able to, it's like therapy almost, nothing's better than being able to be on stage and have that feeling and that atmosphere. So I definitely just want to get on more stages and be wherever I can and interact with my fans who I haven't been able to, for such a long time. And I just hope that they connect with this even more than they did the debut album.
We're talking like 5-6 years since you've been in the public eye properly.
Yeah. Time flies.
Time does fly. And I've never seen you like on the Shade Room or like.
Oh, I've been on there a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but never actually for.
Nothing scandalous.
Yeah, no. I'm not. Genuinely, I'm not a scandalous person.
How do you avoid that though? Like in this day and age where everybody wants to know everything about what's going on with you, your personal life, who you're dating, like, how do you stay off the blog pages? How do you not get like people in your business like that?
Do you know what? It's not as hard as people think it is.
It seems impossible.
No, it's actually not. Like, there are certain situations where obviously you can't avoid. Like everybody has a camera phone, everybody, you know, like, so if you're out somewhere with someone and people catch you and whatever else, then there's actually nothing you can do about it. But I think it's just the way you move. I think a lot of people want to be seen. They want people to know. And if you try, it's definitely effort. But if you don't want people to know, you just don't post stuff. It's literally like I said, if someone catches you out somewhere, then that's a different story. But even so, it doesn't have to be addressed. Like if you don't want people to know, you just don't address it. It's genuinely not that hard. I think for me, as as an artist, there's so much of your life that's already on show. And just even talking about this album and how much more vulnerable I felt it was for me, and just like kind of, putting my heart on my sleeve, like no pun intended, and that might sound corny, but I already I gave a lot of myself to this album, and rightfully so, because I felt like I should, and that's what I felt like at the time. But there's some stuff that for me, I just want to keep for me and my friends in my little group chats. And, I like to have that privacy, and it just really is depends on the way you move and what you do and don't post. And for some people like it, some people love it. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want, then by all means. I'm just not that girl. I just like to just move in silence.
Heart on My Sleeve.
Yes.
Out right now. Who else? Who would you work with in regards to production
production
and writing as well?
Of course. Executive produced by Mustard.
Of course.
I worked with writing wise. I was with Varun Wade a lot because that's listen.
Let's talk about you and Varun.
Let's talk about me and Varun.
Big up to Varun. For those that don't know, UK writer, fundamental back in the day.
He will hate you for saying that.
Really? Come on. Do you know what? Why though? You guys have got me.
He hates it.
Do you know what? That was a legendary moment.
Legendary.
Man, in UK music.
He proper hates it. He's just, I don't know, not hates it, because obviously I feel like that did change his life. Yeah. But like, he was so much younger. And I think when, like sometimes you look back to your younger years and you just cringe a bit. Yeah. I feel like that's how he feels. But honestly.
You mentioned your group today.
I did.
He should be happy about that. Like, everybody came from a past.
Well, let me not speak for him. Let me not speak for him. But Varun and I, like I said with Mustard, that's like my brother. Like, it's insane how well we just work together. Like, I had rehearsals the other day. He came and was just chilling. I shot a video the other day. He came and was just chilling. Like, it's like family. Like, I like to work in environments that, especially with songwriting, it's very personal. Like, I can't walk into I can, but it's a little bit uncomfortable to walk into a room with someone I've never met before and been like, hi, I'm Ella. Hi, I'm so-and-so. All right, so how are you feeling today? It becomes very like, and then you don't really get the best work, I feel like, because if I don't feel like I can properly open up to you about what it is that I'm going through, we can write a song and it could be a great song, but I might not feel as connected to it as I want to. And with Varun, I can sit down and tell Varun my business. So we were able to kind of just tap into a side. And even before that, because we wrote Trip together, we wrote a bunch of stuff on my debut album together. But it just makes so much sense. We just understand each other. He pushes me a lot, background and harmonies and stuff like that. He's not someone that's afraid if I'm like, oh, V, this is not working. He's like, no, do it again. And I need people like that around me. I don't want to just do stuff and everyone's like, oh, this is great. I want to be challenged, So yeah, Varun is on a lot of the album. Man. Big up Varun.
We're seeing a lot of like songwriters stepping in front on stage now.
Rightfully so.
And I feel like Varun, I know he's got music. He played me some of the stuff while he was in LA. So like,
listen,
I feel like he should be next, man.
Listen.
He's taking long though.
I was literally just like, I was like, Varun, all right now, like, we get it. Yeah. But I understand the way his brain works. Also, he's a perfectionist and he wants to make sure it's right. And being in the game for as long as he has, and being, over here, then being in America, like, he's seen a lot. And I think he just wants to make sure that when he comes, it's correct. And in my opinion, it's already correct. But like, it's whatever he wants to do in it. But it's definitely sick.
Any other producers that we should know about?
Yes, I worked with P2J.
Big up.
Yes.
Salute, love that.
Fallen Angel is produced by P2J, Ari Pensmith. We wrote, that was a whole English record. And Jack James actually wrote on that with me. Yeah, we were in LA, just had this session. It was actually so sick because this was my first session I'd had with P and Ari. And my day-to-day manager was trying to make it work for so long. She's like, listen to me, just get in with them. Like, I'm telling you, P's the hottest producer, da, da, da. And I'm like, I believe you. I was never doubting that. I've seen the credits. But we just kind of had to make it work with the timing. And we made it work. And that was another one of the very last ones that we did. But I was just like, I just love it so much. It's quite different as well. And P and Ari and Jack James, they're just so talented, like just very musical guys, very, very musical guys. And yeah, the session just made sense and Fallen Angel came to be Fallen Angel. So that one I'm really excited about. Who else did I work with on this album? I worked with D Mile.
D Mile, I mean, he's like the R&B producer. He's the man at the moment. He's crazy.
Listen.
We're talking Silk Sonic, Lucky Day,
her. Like, it's just...
Joyce Rice. He's the man. Mary J. Blige.
Where do you stop?
It's a joke.
Where do you stop? But honestly, I'm so happy for him because he's another one who's been in the game for a very long time. Like, I don't know if a lot of people know he came up under Rodney Jerkins, Darkchild. And... he's just so sick, like just even as a person,
he doesn't even know how sick he is.
No,
he's
like genuinely,
too humble.
Genuinely, like he's just so sick. And I was happy because I actually got to work with him in the studio. Like we made the stuff from scratch, and it was just like I remember just recording stuff on my phone, just to have for myself, just to be able to look back. And he's just so cool and inspiring actually, because what he was playing me, both of the songs, Break My Heart and Sink or Swim, Break My Heart more so. It's not really anything that I really feel like I've done before, sound-wise, but it just made so much sense. And I was like, I would have never pictured me on this, but this makes so much sense. And I love to, like I said, I like to be challenged. I like to be in rooms like that. So yeah, he's amazing. And I'm glad he's also getting his flowers and winning all the awards that he's winning, because he actually really, really, really deserves it. Who else did I work with? Songwriter-wise, I worked with Prince Charles, who I always work with Prince Charles too. Like I said, I like to keep, I'm down to working with new people also. I worked with a couple new people on this album, but I definitely like to keep the home team around too, because it's what's comfortable also. And like I said, going into these sessions and it being so personal. Jahan Sweet, Boy Wonder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Jahan, Boy Wonder, we worked actually like for quite a few sessions, and then he was sending me stuff back and forth, and we actually grew to have a great relationship. That's like my really, really good friend. And he's just, everyone's just so sick. Like I can't say it enough. I'm just so inspired to be, like I'm so fortunate, to be in these rooms with people who really inspire me and kind of just bring out the best in me. And I feel like I can't be my best if everyone around me is not being their best. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, listen to the album, Heart on My Sleeve. Yeah, I'll let you guys do the reviews, but I'm very, very proud of this body of work. I really am.
Big up, man. Last couple questions.
Yes.
Are you paying attention to what goes on over here? I know, like, you got so much stuff. Yeah, so
I try my best. Yeah, what am I missing?
No, I just like, I feel like I think we can all say, like, we can say today, UK black music is making a hell of a lot of money. Maybe not UK R&B, but like black music is doing amazing things in the UK. I just want to know if it's translating. I know you're in the States, you're in LA a lot. Are you like paying attention to what's actually happening over here?
Yeah, I do think it's translating. I definitely think the pace of it is maybe not like at the pace that people want it to be, but I think we're getting there slowly but surely. I always say, especially with like grime or British rap, I feel like it's a culture divide as to why some Americans don't get it. But I do definitely feel like it's in a great place where now American people are starting to get it and like really understand it and appreciate the talent, because it's so different to American, like hip hop and rap. But I definitely feel like, with festivals and shows and tours and stuff, British artists are over there doing their thing. So I definitely feel like people are paying attention, even just with like Afrobeats. because obviously it's huge over here, and it's a cultural thing over here too, and that's not everywhere in America. You know, a lot of African Americans don't really, you know, don't have that like we have that over here. So I think I remember going to Wizkid's LA show, and obviously we have a song together, and I haven't been to a show in LA that was like Wizkid's LA show.
What was different?
It was just a party.
Okay.
And that's what Wizkid's show is. You know, I came to Wizkid's show at the O2, and obviously it was magnified because that's, you know, that's part of our culture here. But just to see LA in, you know, in that light and in that element, and I hadn't seen it before, I was like, this is sick. Like this is actually sick. And I think even, I know Burna Boy tours the US, you know, and I know Dave is about to tour the US. I know Stormzy toured, like even Krypton Conan. I remember Krypton Conan like early on touring the US. And I think that it's definitely been there for a little while. It's definitely getting more recognition now, and slowly but surely people are paying more attention. But I do think we're doing bits.
And what festivals are you blessing this summer?
I'm going to be at Strawberries and Cream. Hey. Yeah, I'm very excited.
You should be.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. I think I've never seen Lil Wayne live.
Okay.
Never seen Lil Wayne live, so I'm very excited about that. And I think just to be able to come home, like I said, and it's been a while. It's been a while that I've been here, and it's new music, it's new album, whole new set. I'm just excited. The lineup, I love the lineup. I think it's going to be great, a great like showcase, especially like you said, of just black music and British culture, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
And Heart on My Sleeve tour, I'm guessing, will be after that, yeah? Surely.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm good, I'm decent at this, you know?
Yeah, so we're trying to make sure everything, you know...
States first, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm not too sure yet. My agent's working it out, but we're just making sure everything, you know, can work, because with the pandemic, it's been a little rough for touring, and I know everyone's going back out, so we're trying to make sure all the dates work and stuff. But I have to tour this album. These songs mean way too much to me not to, so...
Is it going to be one of them shows like, will I have to be in a corner with a little tissue in there?
No, we're still going to bring the energy.
Okay,
we're still going to be happy. I don't want to make this seem like it's sad girl Ella.
Okay,
like, no, cool. I still know how to, we have sad girl Ella, but I know how to pick myself up.
I'm going to turn up too.
Yeah.
Ella, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for joining me down here, this secret location.
Thank you for having me.
It's been so fun.
It has.
Congratulations on the second album.
Thank you.
And we continue to support everything you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And if people don't say it enough, we really need you. So thank you for
Ella.
everything you do.
Making me shy.
Thank you.